Hey everyone, and welcome to Fusion Radio. I'm your host, Jessica Daylover. Fusion Radio is an enterprise of Nuclear Fusion App. Nuclear Fusion App is a project whose mission is to help folks find, build, and sustain modern villages and chosen families. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General declared loneliness and isolation the epidemic of our generation. And just this past August, the U.S. Surgeon General declared parental burnout an urgent public health crisis. The report went on to discuss various systemic solutions to this problem of parental burnout, like longer paid leave and other governmental programs, but left only one paragraph suggesting that something that might help is if parents had more friends. Existing communally and interdependently is how humans have survived since the beginning of time. Many non-Western and non-white communities still live this way today, embodying the truth that it takes a village, not just to raise a child, but also to care for the elderly, the disabled, the sick, and literally just the individual. But thanks to colonialism, capitalism, and the hyper-independence of the West, we have fissioned folks from their communities and normalized the nuclear family and independent living. And then we commodified all that used to come from the village. What used to be supplied freely from the community is now only available on service sites like care.com. Instead of watering your neighbor's plant when they're out of town or tutoring their kid in math, instead of offering them respite care while they're caring for their elderly parent, or sharing a lawnmower, we find ourselves divided, tired, burnout, and broke. When folks call the nuclear family the traditional family, they are mistaken. The nuclear family is less than a century old, and it's anything but traditional. When the nuclear family was born and really came to bloom in the mid part of the 20th century, it was still born inside the context of a village. Sure, a heterosexual Caucasian married couple with 2.5 kids was living in their single-family home with the white picket fence, but their in-laws lived next door, their lifelong best friends across the street, and they shared third spaces like church, synagogue, bars, coffee shops, and workplaces with everyone on their block. They shared rides, childcare, and casserole dishes. But as technology, the economy, and hyper-individualism evolved, the vitality of third spaces died alongside them. By the early part of the 21st century, more and more of our interactions moved online, and the fission deepened. Whatever connection remained was completely snuffed out at the start of the pandemic. And loneliness, isolation, and burnout reached an all-time peak, and it's only increasing. On top of all that, there is a major renaissance happening among many Gen Xers, Millennials, and Gen Z, where we are standing up as cycle breakers in our dysfunctional and toxic family systems. And we are saying no more. We are drawing boundaries. We are being unapologetically our queer, trans, and neurodivergent selves. And we are doing things differently, more gently, and more collaboratively with our own children. And when that invitation for alchemy and healing is rejected by our own families, many of us end up moving away from the built-in villages we might have otherwise had. And though there is a discussion to be faced about how we can learn to exist in villages alongside those who have harmed us in the past, and maybe even those who wish us harm now, we have so much work to do before we can get there. In just a few generations, many humans lost sight not only of the semiotics of what it means to have a village and be a village member, but we have also lost the belief that it's even desirable or possible. It turns out paying for a babysitter feels a lot easier than the vulnerability, emotional intelligence, and fortitude required to exist in community. It turns out that staying stuck in the familiar yet painful schism feels a lot easier than healing into connection. And it's a vicious cycle too, because burnout leads to more burnout. Sure, I'd love to repair with the village member that I just had a difficult and painful rupture with, but I'm too tired to do the work. And so I will go to bed once again longing for community that I have no energy to create. It turns out it takes a village to build a village. Who knew? And that is why the Nuclear Fusion App project was created. It's a humbly ironic effort to use modern tools to repair what modernity broke. We know both experientially and literally from scientific research that happiness increases when we live near friends and in community. We know that we consume less, we save more, and we feel more peace in our day-to-day life. Inside a village, the individual can come out of survival and begin to thrive. This is who we are as a species. And sure, we could have built you an app that just helps you find other folks desiring to build their own village or chosen family, like a dating app where you can swipe right to find someone who wants to buy a plot of land and raise your kids together. But it would have only been one part of the puzzle that needs solved, only one part of the solution that needs creatively engineered. Our app could introduce you to 1 million people who are looking for connection in the same way that you are. But if we don't also teach you the emotional intelligence, communication, and relationship building tools needed to sustain those relationships in a healthy way, if we don't also teach you how to regulate yourself when you're triggered, how to recognize your emotions and your needs and take responsibility for them, if we don't teach you the art of restorative justice and the rupture repair cycle, then all of this would have been nothing but a capitalistic cash grab, which is exactly what we here at Nuclear Fusion App are inviting folks to move away from. Scary, I know, but it's only scary because so much of humanity has lost our script for it. And Nuclear Fusion App is here to help you find it again. And this script is not new. It's an ancient truth known by indigenous communities across the world. And the Nuclear Fusion App team is committed to uplifting those voices and bringing a diverse group of educators into our network to bring this wisdom to all fusionists who are seeking it. Some things you should know about the Nuclear Fusion App. We are a diverse and entirely queer and neurodivergent team of creatives and social/software engineers committed to engaging in the values in our business that we lay out for our users in our network. We are a non-hierarchical, worker-driven organization where all team members are empowered to be themselves and to bring their passion, creativity, tenacity, and autonomy to the project. We are proudly not VC funded, which means we can put our purpose over the pursuit of infinite growth and profit margins. We are currently accepting angel investors and advisors in exchange for equity from folks with access to capital who believe in our vision, our mission, and our culture. Like we said, it takes a village to build a village building app. And despite everyone telling us that we will never find investors or be successful with this model, we believe we can. And we are. And we will show you how it can be done. Speaking of culture, I'd love to read you our organization's official values, which can be found on our website. We're really proud of them. 1, we are inherently queer. That means we question and challenge traditional norms and existing conventions. 2, we are transparent AF. There are no unspoken elephants in the room. Transparency is a requirement on an individual and collective level. Information is disseminated freely, and vulnerability is encouraged and supported. 3, we are mission-oriented. When making any decision, we ask ourselves, how is this decision in service to Nuclear Fusion App's evolutionary purpose? And how will this decision expand and further our evolutionary purpose? 4, we are willing to hold space. We believe that everything that needs a solution has one, but that not everything needs solving. And we honor the times when there's nothing to be done but feel. 5, we are deeply creative. We have a passionate love affair with raw creativity. And 6, we are rooted in nonviolence and restorative justice. We don't use force, coercion, manipulation, or control to get things done. We make decisions that are best for the planet, for humanity, and for our souls, even if it's not popular, advised, or immediately profitable. We center community and communal practices while acknowledging and holding space for the individual in their wholeness and in context of the world. Well, my friends and fellow fusionists, this feels like a good spot to end the introductory episode of Fusion Radio. The alpha version of our app, Nuclear Fusion Network, officially opens to the public on September 23rd. We are calling this our as-is launch, and I'll tell you why. After reaching the end of our crowdfunding money from our Kickstarter campaign in 2023, we came to a fork in the road that we knew was coming. We knew our product was not close to where we wanted it to be before opening, but folks were eagerly awaiting to get through our digital doors, and the need for this app was increasing every day. So we began seeking funding the old-fashioned way, bank loans. As we stared into the abyss of exploitive loan terms and sinister salespeople, we realized we want to do things differently. So we asked ourselves, can we put our perfectionism aside and open our doors to our product as is in order to get some cash flow and continue pursuing this dream without selling out our values. Now you see why we have to wait until the day after Virgo season ends in order to open. But seriously though, beginning September 23rd, 2024, you can join Nuclear Fusion Network. You can make a profile and even begin connecting with folks locally and globally who share in this dream with us. You can even search Find Fusionists near you and be shown the profiles of everyone in your locality currently on the network. You can also search by connection desires or interest to find other fusionists who share the same. You can post a classified ad in one of our connection spaces like the Chosen Family space or the Platonic Bond space. You can even find a friend or another family to take a vacation with in our Vacation Buddies space. Because Lord knows a vacation with kids is not a vacation unless you've got that good old-fashioned village support. Then you can use our innovative connection methodology to slowly and safely build those relationships over time before connecting in person. We are also offering emotional intelligence workshops on the network, live life coaching events, witchy moon ceremonies, and sassy gay yoga with our COO, certified professional coach, and resident flamboyant yogi, Christopher Daniels. As we come into more funding through cash flow from memberships, donations, grants, and angel investors, we will scale these offerings and bring in a diverse group of educators from across the world, which we are so excited about. We will continue documenting our process of building a teal, evolutionary, non-hierarchical organization as outlined by Frederick Laloux in Reimagining Organizations. And we will be transparent the whole way because that's who we are. And that's exactly how community is built, on the atomic waveforms of vulnerability. If you haven't already, please subscribe to all of our social medias and this podcast, and sign up for our newsletter at nuclearfusionapp.com. And though it is my extreme honor to currently sit as the CEO of the Nuclear Fusion App project, I will remind us all that this is not mine. It's not even ours. We are all merely the stewards of a vision and a healing greater than us. An elemental process so heavenly it exists only in the stars. Thanks for listening, and let the fusion begin.